Forever. Dog.
Calty, and welcome to the first ever bioluminescent podcast. Today's episode is a serene boat ride through an enlightening list of topics like, is there Scrapple on Pandora? Can you get hammered there? And what would a Brian Setzer Navi look like? All this plus Navi River Journey as we celebrate Feliz Navidad, the way of winter, on today's podcast, The Ride.
Colte, and welcome to Podcast The Ride presents Feliz Navidad, the way of winter, a Yuletide celebration of all things Avatar, a podcast series that will have no cultural impact. I mean, seriously, can anyone even name one of the hosts of this podcast? Like, Jason Sheridan, can you even name one of the hosts of Feliz Navidad, the way of winter?
No, and this podcast, it's just Dances with Wolves. It's just freaking Dances with Wolves.
It's freaking Fern Gully, but with microphones, and you can't see anything unless you go to the Forever Dog YouTube, where there's plenty for you to see. Mike Carlson, can you name one host? Just try naming one host.
I would say, my favorite character is General Michael Quaritch, the character we all know. We're all very familiar with him, right? I didn't have to go to IMDb to figure it out.
You certainly didn't have to look that up before.
No.
And now Mike is descending back. Here's where that's all right. That all has been said for the podcast audience, and welcome to our celebration of Avatar. If there was ever an episode where you should maybe come to the YouTube version, which is on the Forever Dog YouTube, or just Google us, this might be the one, because a couple things are happening. First of all, I have gone into the machine. I have completed the ritual, and I am at last a proud Navi warrior.
Right.
I have done 6 minutes worth of face paint, and I'm one of them.
So you're in the Avatar program. You have not become a Navi. So you're able.
That's a good question. Yes.
Like Jake Sully. It's the same Jake Sully situation. It's not.
How are you even able to?
I don't know.
Where'd you pull
I
that
don't know,
from?
man.
You know,
Jake
there's
says nerd over here.
there's a reason we call him the Viper Wolf of the podcast. He's skulking in the background, hiding in the foliage,
Well, this is the other thing. Okay, so yes, I have completed. Yes, Scott is back at home. Scott's sleeping in Burbank, but this body has been planted here several miles away in North Hollywood, and that because that's what we have to do. We're fully embracing the Avatar spirit, and not to be left out. Mike has descended into a tropical potted plant, where we'll see how long you're able to stay away from the microphone with a huge jungle leaf in front between you and the microphone.
I have camo joggers on, so people barely can see me.
Marine. I'm
a regular Marine. Some might also accuse me of pulling Home Improvement's Wilson.
I mean, has anyone even seen Wilson's face? Like, oh yeah, you're a big Home Improvement fan, huh? Then have you even seen Wilson?
Yeah.
Big cultural impact. Nobody knows what the guy looks like.
Yeah. I'm such a fan of the actor Earl Hindman. Ugh. I don't know. Everybody knows his name.
Mere minutes in, we've already gotten a Miles Quaritch and a Wilson reference.
We'll keep it up. This will be Name City, and Jason is you might think that it's just a bunch of bottles slightly blocking his face, but no. What you are doing is embracing the way of water.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by water, and I feel like I'm in a little fort, which is fitting because this podcast is a fortress.
Wow. Yes.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This Forever Dog is our fortress right now. I'm thrilled. I'm so excited that we are doing a celebration here and that we've fully embraced the Avatar spirit. And I felt like I needed to. Mike's already moving the plant. Oh no, you're moving it closer. You're gonna have you're putting the leaf. You're having it brush up against the microphone.
I just want it. I want it to be a good visual, but I also want to be able to talk. So I'm gonna go with this.
Mm-hmm. Does this have a name? The people don't like when you chew on microphone, and there's some term for that. But is there already a term for it? Don't put leaves. Don't
rustle
leaves
onto a mic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Similar.
Floraphonia is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good.
Don't you dare start eating those leaves, you piece of shit. If you start chewing on Mike.
If these are eucalyptus, I might take a bite or two because those leaves get koalas very high, from what I understand.
Is that right?
What?
That's what I understand. I could be wrong. That could be fake news, but let me make sure I'm right.
Mm-hmm. Something I feel like I should mention as you're looking that up is that me with the Navi face paint led to a funny moment where, Mike, you're being very cautious as we record in studio. You've got a baby at home. You can't be too careful. So you've been giving us COVID swabs sometimes before we record. So I did have to do the COVID swab with Navi face paint on.
That's right.
We'll get that video in front of you on the socials soon enough, on whatever socials exist by the time this episode comes out, because we're recording this pretty far in advance. A lot could happen between now and with Twitter or anything else. But we're getting it done and getting it ready because as you're hearing this is the day after a 13-year wait. This is the day that the Way of Water comes out, that we all get to return to Pandora. It's today. You can go see it right now. Some of you may have seen it already. I don't know. I don't know the degree of Avatar head, or if it's only us, if it's only me even.
Yeah.
I will see. I'm excited to see it, but I'm going to see it in an empty theater.
You're going to spend these $600.
Oh yeah, I'm going to pay to buy out all the seats.
To buy out. What they do, not just encourage, but it is built into the AMC app now. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, come see. Do you want to see Black Panther in 3D, or do you want to see it in IMAX, or do you want to see it in a private theater? Like, you can rent out the theater within the app.
Well, then that's what I'm going to have to do, I guess.
Yeah.
I believe it's a misconception that they get high. They get sleepy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, well.
So I don't want it to be a Marshallgate here.
I don't want that.
I don't want Griffin to come on here and relitigate the koala bear being high.
So then something else. Then fundamentally something else happens, which is
I don't want
you Google. Then you start Googling.
I will never be wrong again. I promise that to the audience.
You have learned your lesson. But yeah, look, we're there. We made it to the day. Yeah. And if what I have done to myself in this moment does not indicate that I have gotten fully on board, it's been a journey since we started this podcast. I feel I think maybe all of us did. Like in my head, Mike, you've always been a fan, but maybe it was just of the ride. I don't know I don't even know still if you care about the movie.
Well, here's the thing. I went back. This goes back to if you know my history of being on the a YouTube show called Movie Fights, and I was trying to find the origin of Mighty Ikran because I believe it originates there somewhere.
It predates the show. Wow,
I think so, but I couldn't find evidence, and I for some reason didn't want to sort through about 30 plus hours of content to try to figure out.
I'm sure it holds up.
I say some funny stuff, but I'm not saying go back and watch everything. I'm just saying. But there's an Avatar, questions and stuff. So I would say things, and I believe it originated because we talked about Botanicus, which is something I said. #Botanicus on that show is something that we brought over here. So I still have not found the exact time I said Mighty Ikran for the first time.
Wow, but it was before the show. I don't think I realized it was before the show.
I think it was before the show. I actually could be wrong. Again, don't. Griffin, please. I don't know.
So you might have been talking about like an absolutely epic face-off where the Mighty Ikran is staring down Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Sure, I found an old one because it was a show where you would answer like hypothetical questions about entertainment. So I found one where I was pitching like a Jake Sully Disney Plus show. I was pitching on all the different things you could do with Avatar, but I don't say it in there. I don't say mighty ikran in there.
Oh, okay.
So ikran, excuse me.
No, Cameron, I saw a video and he says just very quickly ikran.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
This might end up being like Millennium Falcon, where it's like there's official sources that kind of say both.
Where
ways.
fans have their opinions about it, but the creator of the franchise doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
That's also
that one's tricky too, because that's just a normal word that some people say
people
one
say
way
both
and
ways.
some say another.
So
yeah.
I could be wrong about it, but I think it originates off the show somewhere.
Okay.
But I could be wrong about that.
Well,
So-
and look where we're at now. I prepared this here in the video feed. Jordan, can you pull up the Google results? And we've discussed this, but I think it's grown even since the last time we talked about Avatar in our live show 3 years ago. So these are the results, and it's only if you Google image Mighty Ikran, it's only more Mike at this point. More lines have filled. You dominate these results. And the very first one, if you see, it's on the second row, all the way on the right. The first thing that is not Carlson or Podcast the Ride oriented is Lego Avatar, Jake and Thierry something or other, and that covers the Ikran part. But I went to the page, and Mighty is because of a link to another Lego item that is Bowser, and they call him Mighty Bowser. So that doesn't even count. So
Right,
really, that's out. So the entire first two lines, I see the Disneyland foodies in there. People have really helped game these results. So your association
I don't
with
think
Mighty
game
Ikran
is right. I think
earned.
make them more earned.
Make them more
'cause
correct.
You got it.
Yeah.
You this land is yours, and anyone else encroaching, you need to chase them away as the Navi chased away the Sky People.
Yes, it's good. Yeah. So I mean, there has to be another precedent for like a character in a movie where like somebody added a word to it and now they're the search for it, right? I don't know. We'll never be able to know. Like another Star. Like, did somebody call Yoda cool and you looked up cool Yoda? And now it's like some guy from a podcast. I don't know if there's a precedent for that.
Did a guy invent the phrase "gross ET"?
Yeah, right. Somebody maybe did, and now it's all this one of the podcast host.
Yeah.
But this is too much. Like this is out there. This has gotten out there. I think with the Google search.
It's grown a lot. The legend of Mike Carlson and the Mighty Ikran has only grown, and it's grown to a point, and we've talked about this before, but now that we're at the day, I think we have to address it, and we haven't officially addressed it
Right.
on the show, and now I ask for the clip, which
you.
I think the word mighty is in the clip, spoiler, but if you have not seen the most official Avatar trailer that came out, it all builds to, this is like the crucial pivot point
Of the trailer,
where
yeah.
the trailer, it's kind of mysterious until this moment, and then it picks up steam and gets fast and intense after this. So it's like really the key moment of the trailer for Avatar: The Way of Water. Let's hear
So
it.
what does her heartbeat sound like?
Mighty.
Everything ducks away. They in an extremely busy trailer.
Yeah.
Everything fades out. Like all the instrument, everybody sets the instruments down, and so that there's one solo, and it's seemingly the new Sigourney Weaver character, the young girl saying "mighty." What did you think when this dropped?
Well, we talked about this happening in the movie. Mm-hmm. We were like, they're going to say it or something in the movie.
We discussed the possibility
I think
of
we
that?
did, whether it was on mic or off. I don't know. I was like, what if it's in the movie? So this isn't quite the phrase, but the showcase of the word mighty, which is not a common, it's not like they say mighty all the time. It's not like a Star Wars word where they say credits or something. It's like mighty, I don't think is something they overuse or use ever
think it's
in the
been in there
first
before.
Avatar.
Yeah.
So it feels purposeful.
Yeah.
I will say it feels purposeful. I've been told that because it goes from mighty to a scene of
An Ikran.
people. Somebody was trying to tell me that these are not Ikrans. These are a smaller
Oh shit! Well,
beast. They're like some sort of I forget
oh, which
the name
new
of them.
beasts to learn?
New
Wonderful.
beasts.
Right.
Oh boy.
So I guess that takes a little of the fun out of it because it feels like mighty, and then we see a video of an Ikran. But still, doesn't it feel like someone's talking to me?
It could be, and I don't want to take that away from me. I would rather embrace the joy. I ran you through the ringer when the time that you thought that you could get Prince to come to your Prince birthday party.
Yes, you did. Yes.
And by the way, I was just driving in that area, and the M Bar is really far away from the Palladium. He's not walking to that's a long walk.
He's got a car. That's 8 blocks.
So now he's got to get in a car, get the whole entourage
You
in the
think Prince
car.
has ever walked more than a block in his last 30 years on the planet?
That-
He gets in the car.
That's a good point. What was Prince's conditioning like?
Well, he was doing 3-hour-plus shows a night,
Well,
so on
I
some
know.
level he was in good condition.
But did he have like a routine? Did he have a workout routine?
I know that
to sustain that?
I know his routine did not involve going to random birthday parties that were
He's
tweeted at him.
mysterious. He shows up sometimes, and he happened to have excuse me, I'm getting upset. He happened to have a Twitter account that was active at the time, so I was like, you know what?
That assuredly he himself was doing the tweeting, of course. He doesn't drive himself, but he does do his own
in case
tweets.
the listener doesn't know, okay, I don't want to.
This
No,
is
I
a
don't want to
second
relitigate
date.
this.
It's not. We're done with
I don't want to
these.
relitigate.
We've done too many of these.
Get this, but I was having a birthday at the M Bar. And it was truly billed as a Prince dance party. All Prince music I had curated.
You say build, and you mean build when you emailed your friends.
Well,
this
of
was
course.
not an event in the world.
Well, I told the M Bar, and they basically were like, yeah, you can DJ the whole bar, which was something. That's not necessarily just like a little tiny room. It was the entire venue.
Because it was
They
practically a rec room
They
at that
knew that
point.
my 30th birthday was going to draw the people in. They knew people were going to show up for this event.
They knew.
And we did. We drew. We didn't have to pay any
Oh,
money.
this is thank you so much. Wait, now is this a transit Google map? Jordan has pulled up a map so we can do the actual mileage. This is very okay. There is walking 0.4 miles. All right, that's not very far, but it's not like next door.
Prince has somebody carry him that far.
But this is a dangerous route, by the way. Hollywood's a
It's not the
shitty
best
zone.
route in the
No,
world.
no,
I
no.
agree.
So I don't think they're letting Prince.
So
just...
all I said was, "Oh my god!" So basically, all of a sudden, it was revealed that, and I didn't know this. Prince did a secret show at the Palladium, which I very much was like, "Should we just abandon ship on this party and go to the Palladium?" We should have done that, but I felt bad because people were coming. Again, we were going to have this place packed for my birthday. So I said, you know what? We should all tweet at Prince and tell Prince to come over. There's a Prince dance party going on right here.
Yes.
And he's a mysterious. He does the, he's not Bill Murray level showing up in a while, but he does some stuff
Not
sometimes.
awesome, totally on the level,
Not
good,
perfect.
Everything he does is perfect. Bill Murray level. This is
So I
in a
said,
different league, but
I would tell people, Prince is playing a show. Now, of course, it's crazy because M Bar closed before the show was over, so obviously it didn't make any sense.
well then.
But I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know when
Okay,
Prince was going on. I didn't know when the set list or whatever.
Sure,
but I said, this is crazy. He's blocks away. I said, let's tweet at him. Let's see what happens. But it wasn't like I was standing outside the M Bar going, why is Prince showed up?
You were not doing that,
My
but
birthday. But I thought looks like there's a 10% chance.
10%. Okay, I maybe thought in your.
15%?
No, let's not go crazy. Let's not go crazy.
Not go crazy.
Ironically, I think maybe I thought you had like a 50% chance in your head. 10's reasonable. I can't
I
fault
thought-
you for that.
Yeah, I don't know what percent. I mean, who knows what. I was so high because I not have eucalyptus because I had alcohol.
Mainlining eucalyptus.
But I definitely probably was excited because it is a pretty funny coincidence that he's playing a secret show that close.
It is, yeah. I understand that. I think what I thought was weird is that I was like, yeah, but he wasn't going to come, and you were mad at me, and you're mad at me still for
I am
suggesting
I am very upset.
that maybe Prince would not be.
Well, I know he doesn't know me.
Giant artist is not going to
But
go.
I'm saying, like-
a birthday party with my music? That's never happened before. I have got to see this.
Maybe if it was next door. Maybe if it was at the. Hold on, let's see. If it was at the Tender Greens.
Which you and I ate at.
Which we ate at
beforehand.
before. Yeah, Jason and I ate at that Tender Greens before
We had
on Sunset.
a typical shitty Tender Greens meal, and then we walked to the bar, which I think an hour in, we were like, is this bar open? Like, it seemed like they were, just a
they were
week
waiting
away
for
from
me-
packing
Oh,
up.
They were waiting for me to pack the place
Yeah.
with all friends and well-wishers.
Anyway, look, this is not. We're not. This
talking
one
about.
we're not derailing. I was more than happy to just bring it up quickly, but I
No,
know you,
people needed to know the context.
Prince.
They would want to know.
You can tell us if you think Prince would have come if he knew about it or not.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, in that case, I think I ruined the magic for you, and I didn't. I don't want to ruin the magic for you here. Now, it did occur to me that if because on the day when we were texting about it, you said, I don't know. She says mighty, and then it cuts to an ikran, and what I didn't text was. Yeah, but an ikran is like one of the 4 things you would cut to in the Avatar trailer. But that's the cynic. And you know what? I'm not about cynicism right now. Look at me. Look how I look. This is about embracing the other side and joining the party, joining the Avatar party. And I want to talk a little about this before we get into Navi River Journey, the primary, if we have time. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we might not have time.
The ride. But okay, so a couple weeks ago, I think it was in the Hatbox Ghost episode, we said we're gonna do a celebration of Avatar, and by the way, I think this might be the only one on the main feed, but we're gonna do a little more behind the Civico gate, of course.
Oh, nice.
But so a lot of the party will be there. But anyway, so I think in that episode, I said I'm embracing Avatar. I'm blue-pilled. I saw the re-release and I loved it, and I want to. I'm trying to think that this movie is going to be a great and amazing theatrical experience, and so in sort of embracing Avatar, I guess I don't know. We announced that, and that's what I was getting at, was that. It seems like more fun on the Avatar side, right? The Avatar side is a party, and the non-Avatar side is a bunch of people like texting about how they don't understand Avatar. No one's having fun over on that side. And this is what happened when we announced the series. That when we said we're going to do some Avatar stuff, 99% of the audience was like, yeah, great, gave us episode suggestions, fun, that'll be fun, Sivako, Mighty Ikran, all of that. And then a tiny sliver of people are like, yeah, here's a suggestion, don't do it. Don't do this. I think, are we not a little tired of this bit? This is nothing but a failed bit. Can we wrap up the failed bits of talking about the biggest movie of the decade, possibly the century?
It churns my stomach when comedy podcasts I listen to do bits. God damn it.
It is not what I am here for. Bits that deviate from the topic? This is... We lost those people during the Prince thing already, so they're right. We're only among friends
This
now.
is as bad as when Mother puts her hands in front of her face when we play peekaboo and she disappears forever.
Mother is never coming back. There is no way to solve this. My life is despair.
Object perma what?
No, I think it just really reminded me that I think if you're deciding I don't like Avatar at this point in time, and maybe this movie will not be good, and if it's not good, well, we should all admit that and move on.
I'm not going to admit it.
You won't admit? I don't. Yeah, I don't want to. I want it to be a party in the theater. I'm excited. It feels like the most here is a mega blockbuster.
Yeah, it's fun.
We're seeing movies again in a big way. This isn't straight to streaming, boring.
Can I ask, Scott, are you going to then retroactively apply this new philosophy to all the bits on the show? You're going to embrace Frank Marshall. You're going to embrace the briefcase story. You're going to embrace the plane.
We will see.
We'll see.
One thing at a time.
Okay.
We'll see if this starts.
You'll be dressed as a plane in a couple months, maybe in a specific.
In a couple months, I'll be saying I loved when Frank Marshall spoke to us. I loved his inspiring speech that did happen.
That's great.
But in talking about my evolution in this area, I do have to admit to something, and I have to go back to a dark place and a more cynical place. That joke that I made at the beginning, this thing that everybody says at this point of I think we're getting over it culturally, but this thing of, can you even name a single character?
Right.
So the other night I was out with my friend Brian Rowe, hosts the podcast Film at 50 that Jason and I have both been on. He's a college friend of mine and somebody who I was living with when Avatar came out, with the first one. And I was asking him his memories about, like, do you remember when that movie was going on? Like did you dig it? And he said, well, I remember you didn't. I remember you were like, this sucks shit, I don't want to see this. And so that was pure cynicism back then. And then he said something that really fucked me up, and here it is. He said, I remember one time, like early on in the podcast, you guys were like making fun of Avatar, and you said, can you even name a single character? In Avatar. I made this
You
joke.
made the joke.
I
Wow.
made the joke that is now
Wow.
a hacky joke.
But it was early. To be fair to you, it was early.
It was early on, and I think a lot of people were. I think, well, I can't do that. I can't bring other people in. This is my own journey that I have to cop to and admit to. But I was ashamed in this moment. I said, I can't believe I did the thing that everybody was doing, the thing that I disagree with now. I think that's weird. There's movies with a massive cultural impact where I don't think you could name a character.
No.
I was thinking about like Get Out. What are the names of the characters in Get Out? You watched it recently? Do
I
you know?
watched it.
I don't know the
recently.
answer. I like it though.
But
like the movie,
I
though.
like it, and it's
Yeah.
clearly a phenomenon. I don't think the measure of it is necessarily okay. Well, then name 5 characters.
Yeah.
I remember the scenes and the message and the filmmaking.
Well,
That's what I remember.
I had pulled up like popular, like I looked up just the phrase "movies of 2009," the year it came out, and there was some good like Fantastic Mr. Fox. I like a lot. Inglourious Bastards, like a lot. And then it's just
Name a bastard. Name one bastard.
it just goes down hill from there. It's
let's hear
like knowing, push, up in the air. Coraline was good. Couples Retreat. Medea goes to
I
jail.
haven't seen a lot of those.
well, her I
movies.
can name Medea.
Yeah, she's
I
the
think
most
we can
famous
all
one.
name Medea. Law-abiding citizen, gamer. Like this is grim stuff. The
These- but
human
these were-
centipede.
I can't. Wait. What? I remember wait, maybe I don't. The name of the director is like a weird. It's like Tom Dex
Of which?
of Human Centipede.
Centipede?
It's a weird
Oh,
like Kurt
yeah.
like Bo Ox.
Yeah.
What is it?
I
I like it. I can't name a character, but I do remember it. I don't remember his name.
No,
clearly.
it's Stefan Johans.
What?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? I don't want to get
Or
off.
wait,
that.
I think it was
that might
Dax
be. Sorry, that
Shepard.
might be the Human Centipede.
Tom
Centipede
6.
3.
Tom 6
Final
is what I'm thinking.
sequence.
Great name, Tom 6. But yeah, look, these are what you're saying, Jason, is these are hit films of 2009, and we aren't running these through the fucking quiz device of can you name a character? I think it's strange.
I will say real quick. I hate to cut you. I started to cut you off. I believe I did a very similar bit, and I just looked it up at UCB, and I did it 10 years ago in 2012
Okay.
at another entertainment-based debate show live called the Tournament of Nerds that I did for many years. This is primarily my career before the podcast was debating things on stage or on the internet.
Wearing costumes in that
and
case,
I was-
like I'm wearing. I must be flashing you, but you feel like you're debating a Navi.
Well, I was representing Jake Sully. That's the gist of that show.
Okay.
I pick a character. So I was doing a similar bit. I don't know if I said the line. I'd have to find my notes.
But the bit was like you don't know, or it was like underlining
Well,
people don't know this character.
A thing that I did early. This is all in the weeds. One of the first
You're
things I did
you're
at this
literally
show-
in the weeds
I'm
as
literally
you
in the
record.
weeds. 12 years ago, when I did my second show ever at UCB, which is probably 2010, I was representing a show called NBC's The Cape, which was a show that was a made-up superhero, and the whole bit was
a
just
reality show.
No, it was a
scripted
drama show
Oh.
called NBC's The Cape,
Okay.
and the whole bit that worked the whole night was me just listing all the things as if people knew it, like Max Malini and his Underground Carnival of Crime.
You had that without people who were just listening. He did not look that up.
I did not look that
You
up.
remembered Max Malini and his Underground Carnival.
I have heard
Yes,
Mike
which I
say
believe was-
Max Malini and his Underground Carnival of Crimes.
I mean, by the way, this
so
is
many times.
now we may as well second gate it now that I've said it, but yeah,
It doesn't sound like Mike to have
Ruvi-
some long pop cultural phrase in his head he can just spit out at the drop of a hat.
Ruvi, the hypnotist, I think, and Rollo, they're circus people, and Mina Savari was on the show. So I sort of I think I established sort of a bit, and then I did the same bit with Avatar a year or two later.
Are you forgetting another podcast connection with that bit?
Yes.
Yeah. You had me dress up as a Navi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just threw out, I was cleaning out an old prop box and I found like
don't remember.
a skirt, like a bamboo.
I
like,
made you dress up as a lot of things in the last 12
yeah.
years.
And I found like an old rotting tube of blue paint and like a rotting spandex blue shirt.
Yeah, I had Jason dress up as Ted once, and he drank blood.
Actually, I dressed up as Ted a number of times.
So yeah,
just to go to bed.
I just
to
want
go
to
to-
Your
yeah.
jammies.
I just want to admit that I probably also had a similar thing I said 10 years
What
ago.
what I'm getting at is I was. Because I do think there's just been too many. And there was one a couple years ago where I was like, we're still making this joke at this point. And I don't know if it's just because of doing this podcast. I know everyone in Avatar.
Sure.
I know Jake Sully and Natiri and Colonel Miles Quaritch and Parker Selfridge and
course, yeah.
Dr. Grace Augustine, who is not Dr. Jackie Ogden. That might just be podcast. But also, I do think this movie has grown pop culturally. Not like bigger
Yes.
than like opening weekends, but I think it has lasted, and it's lasted partially because of the theme parks. And also, yes, exactly. Why are we not saying, I don't think people even care about Couples Retreat anymore? Like, why is this movie, or like fucking, like, how about any of the streaming movies that was viewed by 5 billion people in the first hour? Oh, okay. So now, anyone name a character from Red Notice? Go
The
ahead.
Gray Man?
Name the Gray Man.
The Gray Man? No, they just call him the Gray Man.
Is he just the Gray Man? I'll assume
Johnny
so.
Extraction, the main character from Extraction.
I think, look,
Nicky Bird Box.
I think we won't know the impact of these for 10 years, but we could look at something like Lilyhammer, Netflix's first show, starring one of my favorite actors of all time, Little Steven.
Your favorite actors, Little Steven.
Little Steven Van Zandt from the E Street Band. And yes, I don't think people remember Lilyhammer has not necessarily grown. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I'm just saying it's not grown culturally. So, but it was a big hit.
I think if anything has, it is this. My appreciation for Avatar has grown. I think maybe all of ours has. And there's something, but it's Mike, it's what you do with 1,000 things. You love something, or you have a feeling about something, and you can't tell, do I put this in the kitsch box, or
Yeah.
do I like it? So maybe you put it in the kitsch box because that's easier to process.
It's safer.
But the longer it stays in there, you
Yeah.
decide, I'm going to put it in that other box.
That's right,
And that's
yeah.
me with Avatar. It might be a lot of people with Avatar.
Sure. Look, it's going to be the biggest movie of Christmas time of this year. There's no doubt about that. Of course, 2023, the big movie will be the Netflix crossover Senior versus Stutz, which will be Robert Downey Sr. facing off against
I think it's
Jonah
Stutz.
Hill's therapist.
Jonah Hill's
Stutz.
therapist, Stutz, of course.
The two black and white Netflix documentaries that appear to be being released right around the same time.
And they have big movie stars in them, but that doesn't mean these are vanity projects. Netflix wanted to tell the story of the less famous person.
But look, Senior versus Stutz, no matter who wins, we lose. It's an Aliens versus Predators.
It's an Aliens versus Predator. It's an Aliens versus Predator.
it's
Aliens versus
It's pretty clear. We all, yeah.
Senior versus Stutz. Get ready for that.
Can
So-
anyone
so-
name a predator?
It's
I actually
crazy.
can.
Why
I can.
is
I
that?
can.
You can. What? I don't even know that.
Well,
it's
I
not
actually
just
know.
the
You know what? I
Predator.
can name the toys. I can name the different toys of Predator that necessarily didn't appear in the movie.
Go ahead.
It's
Show
like
off.
laser shot Predator.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's in the movie.
It's not, but it's cool looking if you look it up. I just saw it in Target.
I guess what I'm saying is I can stay ashamed that I made this joke, or I can grow, I can evolve. I like Jake, who started as a mere jarhead, who
Right.
was just following orders, who was just moving robotically through day to day, not living life. And he he did the biostasis and went to Pandora, and he was born anew and rose to become a Taruk Makto. And that's what I'm doing today, who of course is the ultimate Navi warrior who led them to redemption against the Sky People. And that's what I'm trying to do currently and in this episode and in embracing Avatar. And I thank all of you for embracing me on this journey.
Well, we welcome you. We say, and I have to do this one more time. Well, Nadi Kame, I see you.
I see you.
I see you, Jason.
I
Could you
see
give
you.
him? Could you say it to him?
Well, Natikame.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, not to, and I would like Mike and Jason to say "I see you" to each other, but I think because that plant is there, I think you literally can't see
I
each other.
cannot see
Well,
your
hold on,
face. Yeah.
Well, Nadi
Natikame.
Kame.
Now put it back again, like the Viper Wolves in the distance.
This is beautiful. This is the most it's as sincere of an episode as I assume Way of Water will be.
Yeah.
As a film. So I get just to not take too long, though we could certainly talk about general Avatar world. We should probably start dipping into Navi River Journey.
Yes.
The other big Avatar ride. We sort of talked about Flight of Passage on a live show.
We'll
a couple
talk
years
about
ago.
we'll talk about the cereal on a second gate, I think.
Are you declaring that the
I think
cereal
so.
is its own?
I think so. Well, I don't know that it's maybe it's its own.
We'll talk about it. We have to discuss it. We actually don't know what the other ones are, but we know main feed, Navi River Journey. You got to do the big other.
Maybe the
ride.
cereal is its own.
One episode on the cereal, one episode on the weird babies, the weird doll babies.
Oh yeah, there are weird.
It's not
ones,
a bad pitch for
Yeah.
what they are. We'll see. One of them may have already come out. You might know what it is. But anyway, Navi River Journey is what we're here for. And I don't know. I mean, how to even get into it? I mean, this is a ride that is the Avatar vibe fully explained. Like the whole journey of it is just swim in the Avatar vibe for 7 minutes, and it's not about story and it's not about conflict. It's just like
story through
soak
experience.
this up. Yeah,
Just going through the rainforest down the. Hold on, I have it.
I
have it.
Yeah,
I got it too.
The
I'll let you go.
Caspavan River.
I think maybe it might be Kazvapan,
Caspavan. Okay.
possibly.
If
I copy pasted, whose copy and paste was correct?
Yeah, in the Moara Valley.
Yeah, of course the Moara Valley. Yeah, this is. I would say this is obviously the Flight of Passage is the
e-ticket,
the one everybody knows, the one everybody probably would prefer to go on. But in a lot of ways, this is more the Avatar ride in its tone and its mood.
Yeah, it's got the bioluminescence. It's got the creatures.
Because even though the movie, look, Avatar has to have action in it because it has to appeal to the masses. But if it was, I think it's just because people like that in movies. But truly, I think if it was as pure, I think if James Cameron had his druthers, it would just be more peaceful. It would be more just sort of a hangout movie.
You think he didn't? You think that James Cameron, the director of Terminator and Terminator 2 and True Lies, did not want to? He was forced to put action.
Well, by the public,
into,
in a way, yeah.
and then they're gonna want that shit.
Yeah, but it's only I think if he's talking about now if 2 and 3. They have 4 and 5 ready to go, but he's like, I don't know. We'll see if it makes money, and then that'll happen. But I feel like if you really can expand the Avatar universe, there's going to be a lot more like chilled out movies. There's going to be more
just kind of like not so worried about plot, just kind of like a
because that's what everybody likes. That's what
Richard Linklater type,
like Slacker. Yeah, I was going to say like Slacker.
Tonal. Yeah, it'll be like that because everyone's. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Everybody's favorite part of Flight of Passage is the quiet part. Is when you kind of park in the cave and you see the bioluminescence and everything lights up. Would you? I mean, maybe I'm incorrect here.
I have not watched a ride through of it since doing it, so I don't remember the scenes so thoroughly.
Jason, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're
right,
talking about. I
this.
watched a there's
you don't remember going into the cave?
Then
we look it up and there was no scene like that.
I know there's a scene. I know this is right.
There's I recall. Yeah, it does really, as opposed to Soarin' which is I guess a serene ride. It does step down for a minute.
It does the thing I talk about. I guess it's not. I guess it's sort of intimate, but it's like the things I always talk about on a ride, like when C-3PO wheels around and he goes, "Looks like we've just joined the Rebel Alliance," and there's a beat. It's a good solid beat of take it in. This is what we're doing. It's longer than that though on Flight of Passage, where you park. And there's this whole kind of lights display.
You watch kind of a color transformation in the cave. Okay, yeah.
But it's an interesting, nice, pause point in the middle of a more action based ride.
I watched a lot of the videos leading the making of Pandora. A lot of them are still online. Some of them are still are online. But websites and YouTube channels have put their watermark in the corner, despite it being clearly Disney promotional stuff.
Fuck you. Jason's called you out, motherfuckers. Get your water. It's not the way of watermark.
Nice try, assholes. But they do talk about in that ride that depending on what level you end up on, the ride is a little different.
Right, like Soren's like that.
Yeah, Soren's like that too.
You
But
don't wanna be,
You can't plan to go like. I guess
Well, you can ask.
request.
I know you can ask on Soren to go in the row.
Oh, okay.
You
'Cause-
can? Really?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can ask on any ride to go front row.
Oh.
Like they might go ugh, like you might hear a noise,
Yeah.
but they will oftentimes if you just go, oh, could I go on front row? Maybe we haven't talked about this on the show. That would be insane after 5 years. But if for most rides at Disneyland, at least, you can go and ask the cast member and be polite and just go, oh, would it be possible? We'll wait, but like, could we go in the front row, like the first row, or we can go. Where like you can make a request and they'll generally kind of pull you to the side and you'll just wait a little, like an extra couple minutes.
Yes.
So yeah, for Soren at least you can do that. And
But
I would
this
assume
has pre-show rooms.
Yeah,
and
that-
other.
you're
and
right, that
3D
might be
glasses.
too
It might be too complicated.
because like depending on where you go with the pre-show is where you end up level wise.
Right.
It's such a big. I mean, I'm sure a cast member knows, but I don't know if people have
Yeah.
experience.
Is
with that.
there a preferred spot on it?
I actually don't know
Is
when
like
Flight of
dead center
Passage-
better because I'm just comparing it to Simpsons / Back to the Future, where if you're in a severe corner, more
Oh,
so
yeah.
than Soren. Soren kind of everywhere is okay, but you can get kind of bendy if,
If you
you're
get
in a corner.
if you get under if you're on the third row,
Yeah.
you really see this curve under of the circular screen, and then you see the
Simpsons-
legs.
Yeah. I think Simpsons especially / Back to the Future.
Yeah, yeah.
bad
Yeah.
With like,
I actually don't know the Prime Flight of Passage.
Compare that to Navi River Journey, which it's like, as you said, you already said intimate, but a number of places when I was reading about that said like, oh, this is a boat ride. It's a Disney boat ride, but it's more intimate than say like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff because the boats are smaller. The boats fit like 6 to 8 people.
Sure, yeah.
are
And
they
you-
that small? Really?
Yeah, and that's probably why, and because I also looked at like what are the average wait times, and it is often above an hour.
Oh yeah, I've
Which-
never gotten right on this.
Yeah, I think the land is so popular, and it's always popular, even years after it opened.
It's,
I guess that makes sense that it would be that long.
I mean, look, I guess this is. I don't have to save this, but it's too short.
It is too short.
Yeah.
I think
That's
we're
the
all
only
in
problem
agreement.
with it, as far as I'm concerned, and I feel like that's part of why they can't run people through it.
Yeah.
It's like Pirates is notoriously people eating.
Yeah.
In the sense
Yeah.
that like
It's such a long ride, so you can like send people down there and they'll be there for.
it feels like it feels like you're on Pirates for an hour every time.
Yeah.
You're not, but it's such a long ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Navi River Journey is so quick.
Well, let me throw this down as just to inform the rest of the discussion. I think I alluded to this in a previous episode. While I am trying to embrace Avatar and be a Taruk Makto, my initial reaction to this ride is I did not love this ride. I have no hate in my heart for this ride, but on the day, this ride was the moment where I was like, I do want to tap out of Avatar vibe. I have had enough of it for this morning.
Really?
It was. I think it is the line that killed it. I think because it was a long wait. And there's not a lot going on in that queue. So I think my general theory is if this were for what you get for what the ride is, I think if that line was 20 minutes, I think that's great. You're sailing. Wow, that was fun. But the buildup becomes so much after 45 to an hour.
We've talked about this before. I think we talked about it on the Spider-Man, the California Adventure ride. If a line has if you can see the line the whole time, psychologically, it makes it worse. In the sense that when a line like Flight of Passage, which is an insanely long line, has so many different scenes and you don't know where you're going and you're always you could probably forget the order of scenes in it. Rise
of the Resistance. Yeah. Every room's pretty different. Now it's the outside part. Now here's kind of the lab. Here's the artillery part.
You would rather wait in probably an hour and a half long line like that versus 30 minutes in a line that just kind of feels like they've temporarily set up a line at for a shoe release or something.
Yes, yeah. You're looking at it's kind of this woven ceiling vibe, and woven is the term I think for a lot of the aesthetics of this. It's kind of an overhang that's like a canopy. It's kind of like where the Navi sleep a little bit, and then there's woven gifts or tributes to Awa their god. Of course, we know we can name this.
We all know.
And then the boats themselves are a woven kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Reed boats, I think, is what you call the boats. And it's cool. The environment is cool, but you get in there and yes, it shows all its cards. I'm going to be going back and forth in this room for a long time. And it's that animal kingdom heat and humidity. And it, I think I needed it to be like spectacular
And when
given the way.
Right. And when the line is so compact like that, it's also, there's a psychological thing I think it happens when you start to, you incorrectly perceive how quick it is. Like where you go, okay, it looks like we go like here and we loop around and then we're in. And then you might loop around and you go, holy shit, I didn't realize that the thing is so compact. There's like 3 more lanes I have to go through before it gets there. Does that happen to you? 'Cause that happens to me all the time.
Unlock, you realize, oh no, I did not have.
You think,
there's a little zone. I missed the zone.
Yeah, you miss zones all the time when you're in when cues like this because your brain goes, oh, it seems like it's 10 minutes because it's like real close, and you go, oh my god, no, there's an extra like chunk.
Yeah.
It's all like a weird maze.
Well, so the day we did it, it was also the hottest day of the week we were there. That was the hottest day.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Worst park to be in on the hottest day. And then the next day at Islands of Adventure was the coldest day. But I have a different scenario that when I was down with my family, we got in line for this just as it started pouring rain.
Okay.
Really hard. So it was kind of a feeling of, thank God we're in this cave for 40
respite.
minutes.
Thank who?
Thank Awa.
Yes.
Excuse me.
So it was. Oh no, that actually. You know what? That's where the day impacts your experience on the ride. So it's shelter to you. It's like cozy, made by the locals shelter. That's very like comforting, inviting.
The other thing, well, I think Jane ducked out of the line and came back to use the bathroom, and they also they kind of know this line is a little oppressive because they had cards ready. It's like, oh, okay, here, take this, and then give it back to me when you come back, and we will let you back in the line.
Wow.
So,
well, I like that. I give a good
that's
review
nice.
to the
Yeah.
cards.
That's
This should be implemented more often.
usage, but so if you are caught in a downpour and you're in Pandora, your options are getting one of the big lines, go in the pretty small store, or go in the fairly large restaurant, but I think everyone is going to the fairly large restaurant. There's a lot of covered outdoor seating at the restaurant.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so this is maybe proof that the line experience does impact your feeling on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because this, as we said, this is not a plot-driven ride if you haven't been on it. Not at all. It might be
is
one of the
a-
least plot-driven rides there is.
This is a vibes-based ride.
Yeah.
Like
it's
Small
vibes.
World.
Like
Small World doesn't have a plot.
Yeah.
Now, yes, and I figured Small World and maybe other like slow moving boats would come up, and there's no plot to Small World. But here's why I like Small World more than Navi River Journey. There is, as you were saying with the line, progression. There's every room is a little different. Here's Ireland, here's India, here's South America, and then here it's the big grand room where everything's
it's
white
longer.
and gold, and it's longer. Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't like. I don't know. It's scenes and moments. Oh, and there's the crocodile, and then here's the one who's like on the tightrope, and this ride kind of feels like, it's all the same a little bit. Like, am I crazy to say that you?
There's not there's not scene. There's not mood change. There's not.
Yes, it's not even a mood change like you described in Flight of Passage, where all right, now here's the part where it's kind of dark and still, and that's different than where it's like glowing and sunny and golden, golden yellow out there.
Well,
This is interesting.
I think it kind of builds it's like the first chunk of the ride is the jungle, and you're just sort of you see some Navi pretty quickly. The viper wolves, which I keep saying that phrase, the kind of panther-like creatures that are in the distance.
Yes.
Which I believe are screens. I feel like I heard at some point, this I think is a great use of screens in the distance, but a lot of practical sets kind of disguising that they're screens.
Practical stuff really like on the board, it's like, so everything's like there's natural shapes and canopies kind of like infused into the screen, so it doesn't feel like, all right, here is a hard rectangle where the screen begins.
Yeah, so you kind of get your bearings like in the jungle, and then you start to hear more music in the distance, people off stage singing and stuff, and then as you come up on the big star of the ride, it's one creature directly at you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like those environments are radically different. Like I don't feel any like there's the jungle, but then there's this.
Yeah. No,
like it kind of is all the same, which is not. That's not the. I don't mean to hold it to the fire in that way. A ride through one cool. It's a very cool place. Sure.
I think people would like it better overall. I think it would have more raves if not even lengthwise. I think if it did a little bit of what you're talking about, felt like there were more distinct pieces for it. Because like most rides that people like, I've said some sort of version of this theory, and probably won't be the exact same, but like every ride has like 5 moves. There's like a big move that it'll happen. Like you have to remember like kind of tent poles of it. And it's not necessarily about length. It's about like memorability.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it does. So if it's a 2.5 minute ride and you remember like 5 distinct pieces or movement, think of it as a suite. Think of it as a piece of music.
Mm-hmm.
What
nightmare are you going to call? What are you going to compare it to?
Why
musically?
Tchaikovsky's second?
All right.
All right.
I haven't heard the name Armstrong yet. I'm happy.
You were expecting it to go like, and when Black Hole Sun starts.
That's more reputable than some of the stuff lately.
21st century breakdown.
So when this Third Eye Blind song that you've never heard begins, this not famous Third Eye Blind song.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair criticism. I think maybe I knew going in a lot of what they were trying to do. I can't remember I did this first or saw the Imagineering story, which also came out in 2019.
We were on it before. I think that
we were on it
existed,
before.
I think, yeah.
I think that may have cemented in my mind. The reason I started liking it more was that.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing the
Mike's
water.
just discreet.
Teacup
Nothing difficult
Michael.
about this. Reaching through a potted plant, and you should probably do a little. I see you to make because you just took an offer. Like you took from the land.
Well, not a kame.
I'd grab the one on top. It's really bothering me. I can't see Jason's face.
No, we
Oh,
like,
no,
we
that's
like that.
fine.
We
It's
like
fine.
that.
there. Yeah,
Sorry.
Jordan's saying no.
Leave this part in, Jordan. Also,
I'm
insisting
I'm
that
terrified.
We want this top water bottle.
Look, have I been spending the entirety of recording looking at it out of the corner of my eye because I'm terrified it's gonna clatter to the table and scare me? Yeah.
Oh, I've had. Look, I don't have a lot of like face paint on very often. If you can imagine, I'm not putting on like Raider face paint or whatever. So having like dark blue right next to me makes me feel like a bug is on my face.
Oh yeah,
and it's gonna like chomp my eye any minute.
I
So
bet.
we're all having periphery problems, but and Mike, you're fine. You're fine peripherally.
Yeah, Mike's
everything's
you
fine.
got nothing to worry.
Nothing to worry about here. I got a coffee and a plant.
But
Wait, Jason, you're saying.
so the Imagineering story, I think what made me like this ride more, because I liked it a lot, like when we were riding it, and I really enjoyed it. I think I had heard Rhodey's quote on this ride that's been repeated a few times is his intent for it was just plain beauty. And Cameron too, I feel like, is like, this is just a beautiful experience, and bioluminescence, you get to see so much of the bioluminescence. But in the Imagineering story, they say they were trying to do something that they hadn't done before, which is evoke feelings of serenity, which rides don't often do.
Sure.
Right, it's like a spa. It's
So-
a day spa ride.
Yeah.
It's like a peaceful day spa ride, which makes sense then that you're not going to have like a scene that feels like a little more tumultuous.
And
Which sounds good to me. Like I think,
But it's this is length. I think it's length.
well, let me say
Yeah.
because I find Soarin' to be a serene ride to be like that's
Yeah.
the equivalent of like driving up to the winery for the day.
Sure.
but
Yeah.
but it's scenes.
There's
It's like
scenes
and
and
now we're
move-
here
peak
and now we're
moves,
here and now
yeah.
we're here. I think there is a way for this to have the serenity, but also a little more of moves as Mike to combine both of your interests.
it kind of reminds me of the opening of Animal Kingdom as a whole, where it's like, oh, we're trying to do something different. We're trying to show, man's fascination with nature and animals and stuff. And people kind of responded to that with like, but what about rides?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. Are you like these ingrates, these
No,
fools?
no. I think it is a thing that designers and companies need to consider more. Is like, well, how are normal people going to perceive this? Like, how are your neighbors or your distant relatives? How are your
dads?
cousins going?
Dads.
Yeah, how are dads? How are your cousins?
I mean, they
going
do need to think about
perceive
cousins. I think that's
Yeah.
for sure.
They know the theme parks are not polling cousins.
Yeah.
That
Look,
sounds,
dads
I don't
and
like that. I don't like the
cousins.
phrase polling.
Who do you
cousins.
think buys the tickets?
All I know is Bob Iger is going to poll cousins. That's one of the number one
yeah.
things he's going to be doing now that he's back. So, yeah, I do think you need less. Yeah, it's an interesting experiment to see if this ride, like, what does a 15-minute version of this ride look like with no moves, quote unquote.
I
Like,
don't.
is it-
Yeah, that's rough. I think.
But I don't know that it's rough. I think maybe though you're calm, like, you go into a day spa. It lasts 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, depending, maybe longer. You go into the sauna. There's a whole thing. It's not.
Have you, by the way, Mike?
Have I been to a day spa?
Yeah.
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 Not often.
Hmm.
And have you ever done a massage or whatever in Vegas?
I have not. No,
Jason?
I'm like too.
Uh,
I'm too uptight to
Not in
even do it.
Vegas. A couple times, like in L.A.
Every time I go to LA, I feel like I've literally had a massage 5 times in my life, I think.
Yeah.
But every time I go in LA, it's like not. I don't know. I don't know if it's a
LA's
Vegas.
not a massage town.
Planet Hollywood.
Where's this going? that was a hard. Well, we did a fast U-turn.
The reason I say that I get so excited is because this woman gave me a massage at Planet Hollywood that
No,
I
the
remember
hotel,
feeling-
not the restaurant.
Yeah. You
The-
gotta-
the waitress at Planet Hollywood, the server at Planet Hollywood.
She used the hand from the Addams Family thing. She pulled Thing out and
Yeah, okay, drop the LA lasagna and then, take out the thing. Take out
rubbing
the
LA
thing, man.
lasagna sauce on my
she
back.
took the naked Stallone out and put me in that tub, and I stripped nude, and then I got a massage from Thing from the Addams Family.
honestly, that sounds great. That's what massages
The
were.
only thing was, I was on display for the entire restaurant. But that was worth it for a free massage.
Worth the shame.
But anyway, the one time I had this massage in Vegas, I remember afterward just like kind of turning my neck and going, my neck feels cleaner. Mm-hmm. Like I just remember it feeling just like whatever she did, she really knew what she was doing. And then afterward, there's just a whole area where like there's a sauna, you can just chill out, and there's some people in there depending on how busy it is, but
Let me say this, isn't a day spa, aren't there like the different rooms?
That's
There's like
true,
very
you're right.
different vibes.
I'm not
and
against-
steps to so I think a day spa,
I'm not
a
against
spa
that.
experience can still have, here is the stone room
Yeah,
and here's
sure.
the sauna part or whatever.
I think I'm not against moves because they're peaceful moves. It's not like we want to have a fight break out during this ride.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know what. Yeah, I don't think I would pitch anything that is beyond like.
Yeah.
I understand the vibe, but it felt to me like it almost felt to me like the ride that takes you to another ride
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
another place. So when it's over, it feels a little like that was okay. And I think I would if it was even just here's the part where you go through a cave and it's pretty dark
Yeah.
and there's only a couple sparse glowing creatures, or you are about to hit a waterfall but then it clears right before or something. I think there's ways to keep the vibe but still have
It's-
moments you remember.
I mean, I think we're running into. I think it was budget cut. I think I remember reading this was cut budget wise.
Was it?
Yeah, and this may be total conjecture. I don't know, but I remember at the time reading that this wasn't nothing is ever the blue sky version.
Well, we might be butting up against practical reality because both these rides, you don't really pay attention to this. You can't tell from the outside.
They made
It's
a
one
giant
building.
mistake.
It
They regret it now, I believe, because the issue with this, and I think we talked about it before, maybe we didn't, is that both Flight of Passage and River Journey are in the same building. Oh. So the problem with that is if somebody pulls a fire alarm, it shuts down both rides.
yeah.
And I think it was a practical, like they were like, oh, this makes sense. We'll build it on top of it or each other. But I think there's issues now with both rides have to go down at the same time if something like that happens.
jeez, imagine if that was the case in Galaxy's Edge with how often
Yeah.
These are pretty prickly rides. They're
Isn't
trying to
it?
do things that have never been done. So
Or yeah,
No,
I
no,
guess they're
Rise
pretty far
is-
apart.
Rise is
yeah.
not
No,
in the
no,
same
no.
building.
Yeah, it's a whole other-
because Falcon's a huge building. Too.
Falcon's a huge.
And
Yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
this because I would bring you up to the top of the parking garage and show you that's the building
We would
for the
look.
ride.
Yes, we would look down from that parking garage a lot.
So yeah, I think I from the message boards I read at the time, I think the vision of this was grander.
Mm-hmm.
But then the issue is like, if you want peaceful stuff, you can't throw in you can't keep the same vibe going and then change things drastically. I feel like. What is it? How long is the ride? Do you have the exact time? Yeah, 4 minutes or something. It feels like they went with, okay, we want this one feeling versus we want to continually throw stuff at you, because that's what it would have to be then, I think.
I swear it is just like, here's this room is really pink in this, because there are here's pink plants,
Yeah.
which I have, I should say the actual names. I believe the Panopyra are the very pink plants. They're all kind of round and jellyfishy, so it's a little tough to tell them apart. But there's a room where there's a lot of Panopyra. So if you were so flooded that it was all right, that was the pink part.
Yeah.
Now I'm not asking for much.
No, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
there's probably little tweaks. I guess you could throw a cave in there.
Cave would be great.
A cave, because okay, you're outside, so you're not going to change the makeup of the sky isn't going to change immediately. It's not going to. I mean, I feel like the most memorable part up until the shaman is the frogs on the lily or not the frogs. Excuse me. I forget what the name of these creatures.
Wait,
Do you have
I
them?
think I have it.
The ones above you, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
big
Do
leaves.
you have those on there?
Could it be the Prolemurus? The Prolemurus?
The Prolemurus? That sounds.
Do you think? I mean, this is it's not quite a froggy creature, but does that seem correct? What I'm showing you right now.
I think they're shadows. They're kind of silhouettes because you're
so
looking
maybe
up through
you can't
the.
tell since
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a scattering of fan lizards. Fan lizards kind of had a
Well,
little moment in the movie.
I have some photos here,
Yeah.
Jordan. Let's see some of those fan, because this is the slightest difference I feel. I think I sent you fan.
They're
lizards.
spinning around.
Yeah.
But my favorite discovery of them was that on the Avatar Wikipedia, according to James Cameron's Avatar: An Activist Survival Guide, which is a 200+ page book about the background of the world of Pandora, the fan lizard is one of Dr. Grace Augustine's favorite animals on Pandora.
Well.
And that's
there they
tough
are.
for her to narrow down, because she knows them all and catalogs them and appreciates them and sees them. And we're looking at a fan lizard here now, and it's a spinny airborne creature, which makes it a little tough to tell the difference between a fan lizard and a wood sprite. Can we now see a wood sprite? Because a wood sprite is my favorite. I'm no doctor, but I
Yeah.
love how slight and delicate and feathery. These are they're like jellyfish, but with even less structure and biology. And I love these in the movie, very much. And it looks so good in the re-release they did. Seeing these in 3D, and they look really great in the ride. Here's the thing I like in the ride a lot, is seeing these guys floating around, because how do you even produce that? How do you of course the Imagineering can make a big dumb blunt object, but how do you make things so slight that it feels like it might dissolve if one drop of water hits it?
They were selling Christmas ornament versions of these, and
Really?
they were kind of rubbery, plasticky, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. And I picked it up, and I'm like, this feels like it's pre-broken. For $30, I don't want to take the risk to transport this
bummer.
back to California.
Oh, bummer. Yeah, that's not the spirit of these. These are wispy. They're in the wind.
There's a lot of things on this ride that are not easily overlooked and probably being difficult to create. It's because it's so subtle. It's the Shaman of Song is just impressive normally. But yes, you're right. How do you make this thing glow?
And how do you make it? Yeah, how are you lighting it? Is it sort of a lighting implement itself, like the plants in Pandora?
Right.
I guess there's a fiber optic kind of way, but then it has
Yeah.
to fly and not just. It doesn't just float. It really. It billows. It looks like an underwater creature, but in the air.
And there's no and there's no, multi-part book like the Haunted Mansion on this yet. The building of this.
No.
There's no picture
No.
of Yale Gracie type or Joe Rody.
Nobody's getting credit for making these wood spray. This is where I think, if the line is still muddy of like, where does my genuine avatar? I think it's all here. I love the wood sprite so much. I wish they were in reality, and I left the IMAX 3D screening of it a couple months ago feeling like I think I had a little bit of that Avatar depression. I'm like, I'm going to go outside and there's no wood sprites. I don't get to show my son a wood sprite. We can't catch a wood sprite on our hands.
The wood sprites are in that moment I'm talking about in Flight of Passage.
Okay.
And there
I
is
need to
something.
rewatch.
I think I've said this before. The first time Lindsay and I went on Flight of Passage, we heard people react in the sense of like they were being pulled out of their favorite place. Like as soon as the ride was over, the people next to us went, "Oh, like no, like put me back in the womb. Like I want to go back. Like let me go back."
Wow. That's how I'm going to feel when I have to wipe this face paint off. Oh, no.
Well, you can always, you can always put it back on tomorrow.
Every day until the movie comes out, which as we record this, it's still got like a month to go.
Did you see?
I also keep catching my hands in the view.
Yeah,
and,
your hands are slowly becoming blue.
Well, no, they became blue first because I had to use them to put the makeup on, and I'm very disturbed at how I've washed my hands several times, and this is the results. They're still rather blue. Aaron said I'm going to get into Arrested Development bias territory. This is going to be like blue touches all over the house for months.
There's like we've talked about this. Small World has like kind of a warehouse feel, which I believe I criticized, and everybody else said they liked it, and I think maybe everyone else is right that it's like
I think I love the industrial
yes,
roof, but I
think
acknowledge it's there.
I believe that's correct. I think I've changed my mind on it since I've gone, because this is 5 years ago when we talked about this.
Yeah. That's something in the 5 years. We all have plenty of time to evolve.
To grow, yeah.
Which I know the pressure is on for me to evolve and start to see the briefcase story.
Someone, I think, an iTunes review once, where like, you guys change your mind all the time. And I was like, yes,
Really?
We're
correct.
Because we're human.
Correct.
Because we're evolved, and because we take in information and then we proceed differently.
Wow.
And maybe if that's what our politicians did.
All right, Cameron. All right, slow it down.
But this ride, I think this alt ride is also a little bit of a victim of the size of the rooms are small.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like Pirates when you're at the start, where you kind of, you're in a big building when you're on the bayou, but you kind of don't. Your brain can kind of go get tricked and go like, we're like in the night. We're in nighttime.
Yeah. Well, okay, this for sure is budget, or who knows if this was even in the cards ever. But you talk about like evolution. If this ride just had, there's a little drop, and it does not even need to be a thrilling drop, but just kind of like to get you from here to here. There's a little drop that gives you a little bit of speed, and then you land in this beautiful grotto or whatever. Is that not a moment? Is that not a beat? That'd be great.
That makes you feel like you've gone somewhere.
Yes.
Psychologically.
Yeah.
If they're going to call it a journey.
Because this ride loads like Pirates in Orlando. Mm-hmm. In the sense that Pirates in Orlando just starts. You don't have that great mood-building build-up to the actual ride.
Pre-show kind of, yeah.
And yeah, it feels like from queue to the launch of the ride, you don't get immersed. You're just kind of just thrown in there. Mm-hmm, and it's, you want to relax into it. What they do sometimes with a day spa, Scott, is they kind of put you in there. There's music on, peaceful music. Maybe they'll like kind of just put a towel on. You get ready. You have a nice lead up till like the massage or whatever. Like
Probably
there's a whole.
I could use this.
I think you would love it.
I'm an uptight man.
Especially if you go to Vegas. Do it in Vegas.
Yeah, maybe.
You're home away from home.
But then I go there I don't relax in Vegas. It's like activity,
But that's
yelling,
what you-
lights, music.
Well, Lindsay and I were both getting, and this is also like 8 or 9 years ago, and I'm sure I've said this before, like we were late getting to this massage, and it was very stressful.
So you had a bunch of...
But do it once.
Okay.
At least there, maybe, but...
Sure. But we could talk a little about or a bunch about like the big ticket item in the ride, because this is pretty undeniable, and I have I can't of course I like what it builds to, which is the Navi Shaman of Song.
Of course.
I mean, this is an undeniable aspect of it. It's a pretty jaw-dropping animatronic that is
it's nuts.
Huge. That is huge because you don't see Navi wandering around. There's no physical manifestation of Navi in the land or in the other ride, which is more of a screen-based ride. So this is kind of your chance to see
other than the
scale
tank
of the Navi. Right. Oh,
other than the tank and
there's
a Navi in a water tank, which I read was just put back in. It was missing for a while.
Really?
There was a full-size Navi, like rotating in a water coffin, basically a clear water coffin.
Yes.
And it was gone for a little while, but I believe it's back. But that's the only other actual practical Navi in the land.
They talked about how like, well, we can't really have them walking around because they're like very skinny and 12 feet tall, 10 feet tall, or however tall they are.
The quote I found says how also that they have wildly active tails. And that to truly be a Navi, that tail it can't be like Mickey. Of course, all the characters have tails in the walk around, or do they not? Do they just not do Mickey's tail due to like yank possibilities?
Mickey doesn't have a tail, I don't think, because he's got it stuffed in his little red shorts.
I guess so. Yes. Okay. So maybe there aren't a lot of tails around.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
the Shaman of Songs tail is pretty wild. It's wildly active.
Yes,
it's wildly active. I kind of missed until watching a video.
You see, this is one of the things where like they know immediately. I'm sure they did tests to try to figure out. I think maybe I'm wrong, but they did tests to see if there's a way we could do Navi walking around. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Whoa. But
now, like in the early days of Disneyland, they would just go, looks good enough, let's throw it out there. I wish that was the case now. I wish there were like years of shitty Navi walking around. And we could look back in the same way you can look back at those like nightmare mice, Mickey and Minnie from the early Disneyland with the holes in their faces.
Yeah. But at least they tried.
Yeah, I wish people, they know too much. There's too much of a good, like a standard for them to do a bad job.
I like when there's weird. Of course, I'm going to goof on it, but it's funny when there's like a pre-evolution. Like some of the initial way they presented Jack Skellington was really stupid.
Very
unsettling. I think it looks pretty good now.
Yeah. I think they nailed it now. But.
So there should have been a version where like people were wearing like platform shoes with the makeup you have on and being like, "Hello,
I'll do it.
Welcome to Pandora," and then like they were like, "This looks like shit. We got to stop this."
Giant shoes.
So it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and I guess I don't think it's gonna happen, but it could. I feel like they could do it. I feel like it's just like you got to have a lot of like stunt performers, and it's gonna be.
And they have to be really skinny. You have to get the most.
That's true.
The slightest. I mean, you could be a Navi. You're a tall. You're part of the way there.
I am part of the way there. I could be a Navi, but I feel like I'm not in the shape of a Navi.
You would have to lose like. I mean, I'm not saying this is no comment on your. Just to be a Navi, you have to lose like 90 pounds.
Yeah, could you get some sort of wasting disease? Now casting tall people with wasting disease for.
If I could look, if the pay is right, and if I know Disney,
it's gonna be there. They respect their performers.
Famous for their generosity.
Absolutely.
For employee compensation. All those companies they buy too. Marvel, famous for.
Yeah, the culture gets
high
better.
Pay,
right?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually better.
Pixar probably is known for that.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe, yeah.
Just
good
any number of controlling psychos used to be skulking around there.
High pay, but you got to give out some hugs. That's all.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I don't know the conditions if you work at Lightstorm Entertainment, but I know if you work on a James Cameron production, he's probably screaming at you. But he doesn't then go do all these interviews where he acts like he's a kind, benevolent.
That's
I think
a good point.
he owns, although I think we're maybe in a Mach 2 of Cameron. Where he's
I was going to say, I think he might be chilled out.
Well, funny you say that. There is a GQ profile out about Cameron, and I only saw the excerpt where he talks about like, Well, my automatic weapons and my security guards, I don't need them in New Zealand, but I had them at my estate in Malibu, and he's like, they don't really want automatic weapons.
Does he have like
New Zealand?
Does Miles Quaritch guard James Cameron's house in Malibu?
Here's what I'll say. Cameron says he's like an expert level marksman because he got the guy who would go on to train Keanu Reeves how to be John Wick.
Really?
To teach him how to shoot.
Wow.
Most people, I would say, yes, that person's a fool. But James Cameron did just like work his way into being like the greatest deep sea diver and a navigator.
Are there guns on his submarine?
Whoa. Damn.
Because he's in one of those, those small yellow submarines where he goes to the bottom of the ocean. I assume every other day when he's not shooting or doing.
I bet you can't see him if you look at it, but I bet he's got a little compartment that they like unfurl.
Right.
Start firing at if a plankton looks at him the wrong way.
Right. I assume, yeah, he has to have does he have his own? Does James Cameron have his own Sequest DSV style vehicle that's like a massive like Starship Enterprise under the water?
Was that the deal? It was like because it's a set, in the show. So where the show is set is a like a gigantic undersea.
Yeah, I don't know the scale. I think the Starship Enterprises, all of their incarnations are probably bigger, but it's still like a pretty decent sized crew and living quarters, and it's like they're on a long mission.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I see.
So I'm asking questions as usual.
Yeah. I don't know. He could probably I bet the guy can if there's an attacker on the property, he can jump in the air 20 feet and then land right on the guy's eyeballs. His toes go straight into eye sockets, and that's the end of him. Can't shoot if you can't see.
Yeah.
Would you go in a submarine? I've asked this before about certain people and would you go in a submarine with James Cameron?
With
him.
Yeah,
absolutely with him.
Yeah, maybe not in general, but
you assume he's
I guess I should trust someone whose only job is submarine captain more than I trust James Cameron.
Would you get in a fighter jet with Tom Cruise?
Oh, 100%.
That just sounds
that's going to be intense. Like
yes, that's why I'm saying
brown
no.
out.
I think you're vomiting all over that thing.
But if you're
willing to do that,
fucked up if
Jason,
you go in
don't
the
give
fighter.
us these eyes. We're not saying you're a wimp or anything.
I'm not saying
you're
I'm not
getting
going to do it.
Up.
I'm not saying I'm not going to do it. But you're going to get
hold on.
in
That's
that fighter
part
jet.
of the experience. I don't want to have tasks to do.
Okay.
I think I would say, Tom, I'll do it with you. I want a limited number of tasks. Because
tasks is the problem.
One of the other pilots, one of the other actors was like, I would feel like I had gotten the shit beaten out of me doing 2 flights a day, and Tom was doing them nonstop.
Well, the story. Did you read this, Miles Teller? Have I said this on the show before? Miles Teller said he felt ill for a couple days, and they figured out that he had jet fuel in his veins because he was in the plane for so long. And he told Tom Cruise that I'm sick because I have jet fuel in my veins. And Tom Cruise was like, I've had whatever, I was born that way or whatever. He said something like that, which, I mean, it sounds fake. The story sounds fake, but I'm sure he does have it's not good to be up in a jet a lot. I don't think.
No.
But Jason's a hype mice. As your embrace, you're like, I will go up and vomit my brains out. You'll have a wasting disease after.
Look, I was a nervous child. Vomit. I'm
skydive.
I've done some vomiting in my time.
Like the James Corden bit Tom Cruise did. Would you skydive with Tom Cruise?
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott?
I've never had desire to skydive.
Neither have I.
Maybe with Tom. Maybe you got to. Definitely with James.
You would skydive with James, but not necessarily with Tom. Okay, that's interesting. It would depend.
Just to see how well he treats the flight crew. Bang up job, mates. You did it. I respect regular people. I do.
If James Corden invite 3 of us on, and we'll all skydive with him, that would really be good.
Where the hell did we start with all this? Shaman of Songs. The impressive robot.
Is it the most impressive animatronic?
100%. Yeah.
Is there a more impressive one still?
Well,
and this is already 6 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Hondo. I do like.
Yeah, but
Hondo
Hondo has a lot of layers on.
I think I like him more.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Impressive. He doesn't do as much. Certainly.
But I mean, what a flex it was when they unveiled the Shaman of Songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean I think that's what they were like. Okay, maybe the budget was cut, and maybe it's not as long as we'd want it to be. But people are going to be like, "Holy shit!" when they see this thing, which is what you say.
Can we, Jordan? Can we see the clip of? It was the YouTube that I sent that I must say Shaman of Song or something, and you guys will remember.
Excuse me, Shaman of Songs, plural.
Oh, really?
It is, yeah.
Shaman of Songs, really? All right. We'll edit that into the rest of them.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
But here is not this one, but it's the close-up of the face. There we go. I mean, this
baby.
footage, this was jaw-dropping when this came out. So let's all re-experience this together.
I look forward to seeing you on Pandora. Well, not te cameya. Was that okay?
That, and I think that I did not understand when that came out that we were looking at the animatronic.
Right.
Yeah.
It is so because the level of like, have they ever willingly gone this close to the face
No.
of an animatronic and then had it do lines that are not in the ride? I mean, they got to be feeling confident if they're willing to do such a close up. I mean, this is crazy. Which movies had this level of?
Well, it changes. Yeah, if you see, we'll post this. And if you haven't seen this, it's a close up of the shaman's face,
Neck up.
and it switches between sort of like in character, and then it flips to like a very natural human performance, essentially, as if this is an actor. So
Yeah.
it sort of has two modes in an interesting
That's a straight choice to me. Yeah,
They kind of take it apart in the Imagineering story. They're with Joe Rohde and another Imagineer, and they show like under the skin, there's just like so many tiny electric motors, like stuff they could not have done
With Lincoln
even a
or
few
whatever.
years ago. It's like once they switched over to like electronics and not hydraulics, you don't have to worry about the tubes and hydraulic
The
fluid
fluid.
and stuff. The blood,
Lincoln
the
used to leak.
blood-colored fluid
Yeah, Lincoln
that
shot
would
looks
shoot
like he'd
out.
been shot. Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, yeah, this was when you watch it again. I remember watching it, yeah, like you said, when it first came out, and I had to read the description and go, "This is the animatronic," and that moment of like, was that okay? Like that is. I love that so much.
What's weird? What's extra weird, and I mean it in a good way, but what's extra weird is that this is the closest to like a human. Like there's Tokyo Disney Beauty and the Beast animatronics that I've seen that look amazing and like next level. But since the Navi are closer to humans than like a cartoon woman, that's what's so both unnerving and amazing about this thing still.
Yeah.
Is that it like feels like a person wearing makeup. Like
It
Belle
looks so much like I look right now.
You look
We
almost
have really
exactly
similar
the
images
same.
on the screen.
Belle, yeah, like cartoon Belle. Even though you go, oh my god, it's amazing animatronic. It's not your brain isn't kind of getting tricked every other second when it keeps forgetting that you're looking at a robot.
Yeah. Also, those movements. I get a little bit of the big things in the small spaces. My fear that I address from time to time. I don't have it with this so much, even though it's a Navi is huge. But I like it's the fatness of a big boo that would freak me out. But what freaks me out a little are the movements, because the Shaman of Songs is very gangly, very long arms, and they like whip from close to her to close to you, and it's those movements
gesticulation
that kind of freak me out a little bit.
Yeah, like James Cameron upset, he's waving his arms around. No, point the light here.
Yes, they mocapped it off of his scolding of grips.
Yeah, it's she at some point is programmed to like take a nail gun and shoot your phone on the wall. Like that rumor that it's like, oh, the phone goes off on set, he'll nail gun it to the exit.
Oh God, that's a thing.
I never heard
That
Oh.
have you never? I
know
came
that.
across this
we're gonna
researching
get
this. Is
sued.
that if someone's phone would ring or beep, he would take it and nail gun it like above the exit.
Is he constantly holding a nail gun on set?
Look, it's his on-set nail gun, and who knows if he actually did this more than once or ever. But
Sure.
like, it certainly adds to the mythology.
It's a fun legend.
I want this
Yeah.
to be the policy in the theater. I want the AMC IMAXs all have to enforce.
Every AMC employee has a nail gun.
Go find that phone, and put it up next to the exit sign.
They should do it in the land. They should do it. There was a Nightline segment I watched where Rhodey and the reporter are riding this ride, and he's describing stuff and he's pointing things out, and I'm like, this is the only time I'll condone talking on a ride. They are alone. They are the only people on this running ride.
Wait, this is you
And
saying
this is me.
not-
This is me. I think a little
You will
whisper
allow-
on a ride, but I will allow Joe Rhodey and the reporter that are clearly very properly lit. And even there's footage of Cameron and Sigourney Weaver riding this.
They
And
just
even
kinda
they are
point.
just silently reacting.
They just take it in.
Yeah.
Would you, Jason? Would you light up? I don't know if the terminology. Would you light up a jewel on this?
A jewel, wait, get a pull, get a
Yeah.
big plume going.
Big plume for
I don't-
plume for the shaman.
No, yeah, massive plume, blasting
Like the-
plumes.
like strawberry vape.
It's Blue Dream. You're blue. Don't you like this?
Yeah, somebody's for sure blown blueberry vape. Like his, because we of course were in a boat on Pirates with Strawberry Vape Man, who did it when Barbosa was up, or Davy Jones in the mist part.
Yeah.
That's how we, the intrusive
So-
thought. I every now and then think of the phrase "a plume for Barbosa." I used to say it to you or Gio, and we just start laughing.
Yeah, so somebody had to. Yeah, if you've let us know if you've been on this ride and somebody blew blueberry vape when the shaman
Somebody
showed
blew
up.
some blueberry.
Yeah,
Why not? I think they gotta allow it. You're in the spirit. This is something I wrote down about this ride. Is like when I'm, if it sounds like I'm being hard on it or wanting more out of it, the vibe is excellent. I would love to eat dinner in this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Oh,
I would like to hang out still in this ride.
Yeah.
Unmoving by which I mean still, and like for like 2 hours, that would be fine. But
Yeah.
but by virtue of it's a ride and I'm moving and I want something to have, I just want a little more to.
But that's what,
I don't know.
that I think is completely is in line with my point of just like length, even more than the moves, because we get used to when you're in a boat. A boat feels like more of a to do on a ride than a regular car or a regular ride vehicle.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they've set the precedent that a boat is longer.
Sure.
So it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, you'd rather have a meal. You'd rather have one of those bowls, the famous bowls.
Satuli bowls.
Satuli bowls.
In here, yes, because it's a great place to be. I just want like some, and even now, look, I'm not hating on the Shaman of Songs, but is it? I think it's like, of course it's great, but when we've all been on slow-moving boat rides with 100 animatronics that are not as good as the Shaman of Songs, but would you rather have 100 okay animatronics or one very, very good one? And I know the answer for me.
I don't know. I mean, I appreciate this one that they seem to have kept it up.
Sure.
Like I've been there 2 years later, 4 years later, and so it's still working well. It still looks good.
And they did
If they let it go to shit, I feel like I would feel differently.
And they did the smart thing on this one where they built it so they can pull her out, or him out.
Yes.
Excuse me. It's a male character.
I
Is
don't
it?
think so.
Is it a female
I think
character?
it's voiced by a female, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. But well, maybe it doesn't even matter. I guess it doesn't matter.
But yeah, it can be pulled. It's on a platform. It can be pulled backstage
Yes.
to work on it. So they didn't
Which
repeat
is a
the
Yeti.
mistake
They
of
learned.
the Yeti.
Yes.
And
this-
the replacement is a screen. That's ready. So if you pass by it in B mode, it is a
Yes.
screen performance
I mean,
of the
what a
Shaman of Songs.
disappoint. That's your one trip every 5 years. You go, we got to see this robot. Holy shit, this is the reason we waited in an hour and a half line for this.
That'd be rough, yeah.
And then you see the screen. Because, like, at least Rise of the Resistance, when you don't get Kylo, they've pulled Kylo to fix him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a little. You rid of this. Yeah. It was not like the main thing on the ride.
Sure. You still
Oh.
get a ride that's much worse than Transformers, the ride.
Yeah, of course. Same thing.
There's also multiple Kylos. It seems like it'd be unlikely that all the
They
Kylos
all-
would be down.
Every Kylo is
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, no, I don't think that happens. I think probably the other ones just, like, stay there. Maybe they don't move as much.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the one that's the most, has the most ability to move around, is the one at the end.
The final that gets like when
Blown
the
up,
hatch
yeah.
over. Yeah, right. What else needs to be said about this or about the shaman?
Oh, the song. The
song.
linguist. Dr. Paul Fromer, the USC professor and linguist who came up with a lot of the Navi language.
Okay.
And on his personal WordPress or blog spot says I wrote a lot of versions of this. The one that they ended up using, I wrote in 2015. It didn't come out until 2017. Okay. And he posted the translation of the lyrics of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so go ahead.
Do we want? Okay. Oh, beautiful forest, there are tears in the forest, wood sprites. We cry out, calling "Oh, Awa." That's the first verse.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me just to give you a note. Could you say it? If this ride's about serenity, that was a little arch the way you said it.
Okay.
In verse 2, let's
right.
get a little more serene.
Sure. Thank you for the note.
Mm-hmm.
Connected as one, O great mother, wood sprites, we cry out, calling, O Awa. By the people's will, the forest is singing, wood sprites.
Wood sprites again.
We cry out, calling, O Awa. And that's 3 times on those O Awas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jason, that was a lovely reading. Could you just read these lyrics real quick in the same?
Yeah, no problem.
Same sort of tone.
Should I leave the room?
No, go. It's fine. I think.
Cellular data is turned off. Turn on cellular data.
No. There's a. Hold on. So sorry. Do you want me to?
No, I got it.
Okay, great. Okay, good.
I'm just reading the right thing.
No, just take peaceful as you can.
Yeah, sure.
Serenity.
Jason, take all the time.
Out with it.
Take all the time you want.
Jason's turning as red as I am blue.
I think you should take all the time because this is such an important piece of.
You're right. We need to let him get into a place. Do we all need to leave the room and come back?
Silence.
Okay. All right. This is this is a crying scene or this is a romantic scene, and you need to be, even if you're James Cameron, you can't be screaming.
We're ready. Yeah, we're ready whenever you are, Jason.
All right.
Okay.
Father of mine, tell me, where have you been?
Come on,
get out.
Right, I'm getting Cameron-y.
I just closed.
Come
my
on,
eyes.
we're losing light.
My whole world disappeared. Father of mine, take me back to the day. Yeah, when I was still your golden boy. Back before you went away.
Okay, thank you so much.
Wow. I feel with Awa and I feel with Everclear. But for the record, I don't think Everclear is the worst thing that you like. The one now, I don't know if this episode has come out.
What
by
is
now,
the
but,
worst thing I like?
Well, in recent memory, we did a mailbag episode, and I don't know if it's come out by now, but the joke became that we left the room. We're like, you stay and talk about music.
Yeah.
And within 10 seconds of that assignment, you were talking about how you like Lifehouse. That's what it was.
I think I like the song "Hanging by a Moment," but I'm not a huge fan of the band. I saw them open for Matchbox 20.
No, that's what you were telling this
Right.
story. Yeah. But we leave you alone, and you start talking about how much you like "Hanging by a Moment."
Yeah, I do like "Hanging by a Moment." I think I haven't heard it in a few years. I feel like, but
No,
I always
like "Hanging by a
I always
Moment,"
liked
okay.
it. Yeah.
Everybody, am I all right? Am I canceled for?
You just don't have the normie. You never had a normie phase.
I think I didn't. No,
That's just a missing piece. I think.
Yeah. I like the Beastie Boys a ton, but then they branch you and all this weird bullshit. So
you like the stuff that crosses over from like cool and normie, because Beastie Boys is both cool and normie.
I think so. Yeah.
But you were missing.
Am I missing out on life? Is this like, okay, do I need to take the journey? Because everybody's like, Lifehouse had the song was a big hit, but it had no cultural impact. Can you even name a member of Lifehouse?
I cannot name a member of Lifehouse. No offense to Lifehouse. But yeah.
But soon enough, I will start the journey, and I'll easily be able to name Rick Wollstonhume Jr.
Wow, really?
The drummer of Lifehouse, Rick Wollstonhume Jr. Huh. He will be my favorite drummer of all time. As after Way of Water, I think this is a pivotal moment for me. If Way of Water sucks, I go firmly into cynicism. But if it gives me everything I need and I feel and I embrace the Way of Water, I'm gonna end up liking Lifehouse.
Wow. Yeah. I hope he's not a Ginger Breaker type. I hope he's a peaceful guy. Although I guess James Cameron is sort of the Ginger Baker of
Ginger
movies.
Baker was a bad man?
I think
The
he's
drummer
very-
of Cream,
Yeah, the
correct?
drummer of Cream.
Okay.
I'm going a little back. Yeah, he was a wild guy,
Okay.
outbursts and stuff.
I see.
There's a documentary.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, we'll learn the way of Wollstonehulme after we learn the way of water. What else? What have we not hit?
They did release, by the way, the song. If you want to hear the song on repeat, the soundtrack was released in 2019 for the whole land.
Here's the thing that ultimately, the song and the robot, I think, ultimately redeem a lot of like what you would maybe not problems, but whatever.
It gives you something big
deficiencies.
to go out on.
and it
Yeah.
gives you something like the first time we ever went on it. It's one of those things where Lindsay and I we were singing the song all day. Mm-hmm. We obviously did it at our live show a couple years ago, but
Still got it in your head? Can we all do it?
yeah, I can.
It's
do
just
it.
the I don't know till the chorus. It's all I got is Matewa, Mate. Wait, it's Maewa, 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 Maewa. Wow.
We were all in key there, I think.
Yeah.
So
It's in our
so
hearts.
it's one like in the same Sinbad and Tokyo Disney Sea. It's one of those where you're like, I remember that the rest of the day. That's a
Yes.
memory now I have for the rest of my life to cherish. Is singing this song.
Mm-hmm.
So like, in that way, it's like it's a big success, I guess, in that way, because like, there's stuff you go on, and you go, oh, that's fine, and then you don't. It didn't turn into a bit. It didn't turn into a fun bit to do the rest of the day.
If there's anything memorable to hang off, which is the triumph of the video in the line and
Yes,
move around a little bit. No,
Right.
that is all instantly iconic.
Yeah.
that's true. So it ultimately succeeds because of that, I think.
Yeah.
But I just wish there was more of it. I wish it was like a bigger in scope, and I understand they did the best with what they could money wise, but there's so much stuff on here that even watching the video to refresh myself, I can't notice the details because again, it's not so well documented. Every piece of it that you take for granted probably how hard it is to do and make this ride.
Yeah. And the animatronic too. I think in terms of what is more impressive with this versus Hondo, very humanoid. He just kind of seems like a tall guy. He's just kind of like got a clipboard or a tablet or something.
Well, this is
and
very
he's just kind of
reductive,
moving.
but yes,
That's
suppose.
true.
And he's wearing like, a duster and like slacks.
I love all of it, but then he's got
like
a
it.
funny
He's
character.
good. Yeah,
and I
he's good.
like
He's
him.
good.
But he is good. I do like him. But in terms of technical impressiveness, all of the arms and the tail are all moving. They're not symmetrical. They're all kind of doing their own thing.
Well, and they're so
Yeah,
much more
yeah.
fluid even than like
They
Hondo.
are.
Hondo like
Yeah.
is still a little bit like more robot. This is like the least robot-ish robots,
Yeah,
just because of
that's
how
very true.
Yeah.
fluid it moves. It like feels like it could do that. What's the dance move where you put your arm out like this and you make it like wave?
What is that called?
I don't know what it's called, but like it feels
Yeah.
like that robot could dance. It feels like this is one of the only robots that could do a bunch of different types of dances.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
they should keep
Classic,
it current.
yeah, like-
program it with new TikTok dances.
New
every-
TikTok
every
dances,
month at
old,
least.
the twists.
Oh man, of
Charlie
course make
Brown.
it do the twist. Yes.
Yeah.
They should do at least one fun night in Pandora where the Shaman of Songs does all the different dances of this
Oh,
through
she's
the
doing
through the
mashed
decades.
potato.
She
The
does
history
mashed
of
potato.
dance. Do
The
the history of
history of
History of
dance.
dance. You park the boat in front. It's an exclusive event. You pay $250.
Yeah, to watch it do. When I dip, you dip, we dip. I put
Yeah.
my hand up on your hip.
She can't do the Casper slide because I don't think the legs are that good. But it would all arm-based dances.
Yeah, you're fine with Macarena as
swim.
long as you're fine not like doing the hops to the different corners.
Yeah, she
But
could
the
do this-
hands, she's made for that.
She could do Dance to Soul Bossa Nova, the Austin Powers song.
Oh, if she could do like fingers out, like
Oh,
her sort of
Batusi.
Batusi. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she could do everything. I bet.
I do wish that this is the only like, I like that Avatar is a humorless franchise.
Yeah.
It's maybe something that was off-putting to me at first, but now it's what it is. It's a
Right.
deeply, really sincere movie, so you just go along for that ride.
Right.
But I do wish that, as with all things, that like Star Wars Holiday Special style, I also said, screw it, doesn't matter. It's not canon. We're not messing it up. We're not ruining your childhood
That video
by
was
doing something stupid with the property.
That video was fun because it breaks character. So he allowed that to happen. So let's have some dances, James. They all want it. The Imagineers, we know, because we just created the idea of it, and we know the Imagineers want to do it.
I think you just got to look at the TikTok charts and see what's trending. And that's how you keep it current, and it's how you keep like 12-year-olds going on this ride.
Yes,
they're doing this month's dance.
Yes,
yeah,
that would be That's a plus up. I think we all can get behind.
Yeah,
at least for a themed like overlay for the ride.
Yeah, let's see really what this thing can do.
I remembered something. I didn't want to forget. One reason I like this ride a lot, and I think it's because one part of it, not the main reason, but like I really like the bioluminescence. I like the nighttime setting, and one of my big theme park holes is that I have never seen Pandora at night.
Yeah, I mean,
so I was there. I forget what we only. Yeah, it was so hot the day we were there. We all tapped out by like lunchtime. And then the other day I was there, we might have had a dinner reservation at night, but also just pouring rain all day.
Well,
so
you guys had to go to Chicken Guy a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So that took priority over seeing Avatar,
that's
seeing Pandora
true.
at night.
I think we zipped around the Seven Seas Lagoon this day.
We had to go see the Shaman of Sauce.
Yeah.
Guy Fieri.
Shaman of Songs.
My AWA, that's a spicy sauce.
Father of mine.
Yeah, that's the Shaman of Sauce sings "Father of Mine."
Put that on it. That's our plus up. Yeah. Well, I would love to see that too. But I think, all right, look, if we're talking about kind of like, injecting music and seeing what else musically is going on in the Avatar world, I've had this idea to tie these things together, because we've certainly covered Avatar here in this December episode, but don't forget it's Feliz Navidad, the Way of Winter. I want this to be kind of our holiday celebration as well. So to tie all of these things together, my pitch. And now I throw it to you guys if you want to do it on the other ones on the Civico gates. The door is open, but for now I've asserted and prepared a carol. I call it
great.
Perfect.
An Emotikaya carol.
Perfect.
That is the tribe that the Sully
We all
enters.
Know, yeah. We all know.
And yes, and this is a tribute not just to an iconic character whose name we certainly know at this point, but also to an iconic scene in at least some versions of the movie. And Jordan, I ask if you could bring up This Is It, yes? And all right, I will now, in a very solemn fashion, perform this episode's Omotikaya Carol. Oh, sully night, the tree of voices shining, you're in the avatar of your brother Tom. Long was the trip through space in biostasis, now it's the night of a jarhead's rebirth. The thrill of thrills when you connect your dreadlocks. She chose her mate. Netiri wants to bone. Fall on your knees and fuck this big blue lady. Oh, why was this cut? The sex is only in the Blu-ray cut. Oh, night, oh, mighty night, Jake Sully night.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thanks. Do we all feel some serenity after?
Yeah.
I feel a little horny.
Yeah.
I do feel serenity as well.
Yeah, me too. That's again, the sex scene is not it wasn't in the IMAX cut, and I had to look it up so you can see it. This is one of the only places to see it is
Wait,
in this
really?
episode.
I
On
think
Podcast The Ride.
I swear it was in the Disney Plus.
I don't know. I don't know what's up in the Disney Plus, but if you saw it in the theater, it cuts away. It goes.
It's
to
a long,
like a
it's
poem.
longer.
Yes,
It's implied.
some sex, but not the dreadlock
Right.
connection, and not the what we just watched, where like he picks her up and it
Right.
starts getting a little wild. So if you really
Right.
want to see Navi's fuck, then you gotta go. You gotta watch the video version
Of
of
Podcast
this
The Ride, yeah.
of the Navi Flight of Passage episode. But with that, you survived night one. I don't know if that's true. I don't know when they're coming out. You survived a night of Feliz Navidad, the Way of Winter. And up to hey, bring them to the table if you have a Matikaya carols.
I've got an idea.
Okay, all right. I'm very glad to hear it. So yeah, head to the Sivako Gate to hear what else we're doing here. One more bonus episode on our new tier Club 3, and we're waiting to hear. We're waiting on the assignment of if that's holiday oriented or if it's Avatar oriented. I know which way I'd like it to go because there's only one Christmas season until Seedbearer comes out where we get to celebrate all of these things at once. And that's all at patreon.com/podcast the ride. Thanks to Jordan Katz for producing this episode. Thanks BJ for helping us out. And that's all the plugs. And but it's not about us. It's about AWA.
Hold on real quick before we leave.
All right. Not the way
The water anymore. Fallen. The waves of the water has fallen.
All right. Well, I was gonna do that, but that's
Oh,
fine.
you still got a couple here.
Oh,
We'll set
okay.
them out here. What would you do?
Oh,
This
man.
is theater of the mind. The Fiji
Audio
waters that we built in front
fidelity.
of Jason are falling down.
This is like the thing they play before IMAX movies, where to show you how crisp the audio is.
That's right. Now you can hear it.
Yeah,
At the end
if
of the
you
podcast.
just
Dolby
heard,
shit.
What was that? I know that I heard 8 Fijis falling, but what did it look like?
Right.
And was there an avatar or a guy in a plant doing it? Only one way to find out. Check out the video and head to the Seviko Gate. Praise to Ewa.
Forever. Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gardner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.